Welcome to Six Figure Souls Doing Good and Making Money, the weekly podcast where I highlight entrepreneurs who have left the grind and designed a business in alignment with who they are. This is a very special season 9, where I'm interviewing my co-authors of the third collaborative book in the Ultimate Guide series called Leaving Your Legacy. I'm your host, Camille Miller, an internationally known business strategist and life amplifier, founder of the Natural Life Business Partnership and the Soul Professional Society, a global business incubator for logically brained, soul-aligned micro-entrepreneurs in service to others. Today, I have in my studio Kimberly Winters. She is the vegan expert, creator, and host of Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. Thank you, Kimberly, for being a part of the book and our podcast show today.
Well, thank you for having me,
You
Camille,
are
in both the book
welcome.
and here.
Yeah, I've known you for a bunch of years.
Yeah,
Bunch of years.
2018, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
2018, right? So bunch of years.
hmm
And I love how you keep recreating yourself. But this vegan thing, you have really dug your heels in and have become such a influencer expert and really so knowledgeable in your field. So I love your podcast called Did You Bring the Hummus?
Thank you.
So if our listeners are into that, totally listen to it. Amazing guests. Um, and you, as a vegan coach, too, can help people kind of learn more about the lifestyle and make the little tweaks in their life as they're ready to do it
Yeah.
in a really kind and natural way. So tell us a little bit about you and your
hmm
background. And
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about your podcast as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
so I went vegetarian in 2001 and I went vegan here and there, and then I'd start eating cheese again. Cheese is super addictive, by the way. And I finally went vegan for life. That's got two meanings, right? I went vegan in 2015, and then I kind of started to think about what does that mean for me and how I show up in the world. I always felt like there was something bigger and more impactful for me to
Mhm.
be doing with my time and my knowledge and experience. And it really took until I joined Toastmasters. And I went through my pathways, which is our education process, and I hit upon a project that required you to do a podcast. There were a couple of other options for me to
Right.
choose, but the podcast seemed the scariest. And that's what I was at Toastmasters for. So I said, okay, let me do the super scary one. And it required 60 minutes of content out there in the world for people to hear. So I thought, I've got to talk about something that really matters to me, something I feel really confident about. And so veganism was the choice, and thus Did You Bring the Hummus was born
Beautiful. When was that? What year was
in
that?
September of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
I'm in season
Because I
5 now.
remember that. I remember you on this journey
hmm
and starting it.
Yeah.
So it's incredible to see where you are today.
Yeah, and like you don't know where this stuff is going to lead, right? I
Yeah.
thought I'd never even listened to a podcast before, so I wasn't certain I would enjoy doing it. I had a steep learning curve because I didn't know how to edit and use that type of software. And I thought, maybe I'll just do this hour and that'll be it. I'll give my speech about it and I'll be done. But no, it
Yeah.
felt so good to use my voice, to get it out there and share my mission. And now it's just, I do interviews, I do some episodes just me, but I get to connect with incredible vegans. And everyone
Yeah.
on the podcast is vegan because I want them to share their story, their vegan journey. Most of my listeners are not yet vegan. So that means that I'm expecting that there's some listener out there who tunes into a certain episode and they hear someone's story and they go, oh, wow, that sounds a lot like me. And if this person did it, maybe I can do it too. And I think we're just planting those little seeds of people starting to go, maybe I could be vegan too.
I love that. So I'm hearing you're a vegan influencer.
Maybe a smidge.
Wear it proud. I actually think that that's really interesting that you literally are influencing a
Mhm.
community of vegetarians, and they may not all be vegetarians. It could just be that you're really influencing how people think about how animals are used in this world, which
Mhm.
I think you bring to light a lot of ways that we don't think about it, as in animal testing and even our clothing and
Mhm.
all the other ways that we're not thinking
Yeah.
each day that animals are brought into our world. And I love that that's a part of what you talk about,
Thank
that
you.
it's the whole lifestyle of the
Yeah.
why.
So much more than the food. The food is a
So
big
much.
part of it, right? We
Yeah.
eat minimum 3 times a day, most of us.
Yeah.
So we're making choices around who is on our plate multiple times a day.
Yep. I love that. So your chapter is called Take Up Space: How to Find Your Voice and Stand Your Ground. So I'd love to talk a little bit about your chapter. Very inspiring. You
Thank you.
talked a little bit about your journey in Toastmasters and
Mhm.
actually coming up with like what really what you just told us. But the intricate part of having to go through it and come up with this podcast that is now your life. Tell
Yeah.
me what it was like to write out that story. Was it empowering? Was it scary? What was that like for you?
It was empowering. It was exciting. It was a little like I am not going to get this right, and I felt stuck. There was a lot of let me get a lot of words out. Oh, that doesn't make any sense. Let me fix this. Let me fix that. And it started to feel like, oh, nobody wants to hear this story. There was a lot of doubt going on as well.
Yeah.
But when I got to the final piece of it, I was like, okay, I'm glad I wrote this. I'm glad I'm here doing this. It
It's hard, right? Your
is.
story is so hard to put out
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
because it's personal. I mean,
Yeah.
right? It's yours. And once it's in print, it is out there. Everyone knows how you felt in
Mhm.
a moment.
Yeah.
What made you decide to be a part of our book?
It seemed like such a cool opportunity to share a story like this and to get veganism into the hands of people that maybe are not expecting it.
Yeah.
They're coming in maybe thinking it's, from a spiritual side or even just business development, trying to get a more personal piece of that. And then they're going to get to this chapter and it's going to talk about veganism and they're going to go, "What?" And I loved that idea. And of course the opportunity to work with you because like you said, we've known each other for a while now. And I always tell everyone that you are the reason why I'm a member of your
Oh,
group.
thank
And
you.
I'm just always so inspired by what you do and how you show up and the way you push us all forward and how we all just kind of take up this space together and move the world and our like kind of collective energy just forward and make it bigger and better in the world.
Yeah, thank you so much
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah,
I
of
appreciate
course.
that. I wanted to add that your chapter is really about that business and your imprint and bringing your passion forward. It just
Hmm.
also happens to be about your journey in veganism and your
Yeah.
passion. But this was so much your passion
Yeah.
that it led you forward. And I think that's what's so important, that, and especially when we talk about legacy, right? We're all leaving our imprint in the world, good or bad.
Hmm.
We're
Yep.
leaving an imprint in the world. Could be small, could be big, right? We don't have to
Mhm.
be world influencers to actually be influencing, because
Right.
we influence the people that are around us. And even if it's a small community, that's really our legacy, right?
Hmm.
And it's so beautiful when it comes from our passion. But I don't
Yeah.
think there's really any other way it could actually happen. I think people leave their legacy when it is their passion, when it's something they so raw believe in that
Hmm.
they just make it happen. They have this vision for who they are as a person, and it's a ripple effect through the world,
Yeah.
right? And that's what your
Hmm.
chapter was about. It was about just having this raw passion and this assignment,
Hmm.
right?
This
That you're just
huge
like,
daunting
let's put
assignment.
those, let's dovetail that.
Yeah.
let's dovetail that. And it came out with this incredible podcast that has really blown up. You have a
Hmm.
lot of downloads at this point. You have some great guests.
Yeah.
Really, really fabulous. I'm curious, what is your goals with all of this? Like, do you have a vision with the podcast? Now you have a book coming out, and
Mhm.
we already know it's going to be a bestseller. So,
Of course.
right, you're going to be a best-selling author.
Yep.
Um, what's your vision in the world and how you're impacting,
My
creating your legacy, really?
my ultimate goal is to have a small vegan B&B, like 3 to 4 bedrooms, super small,
Yeah.
with a community space
Okay.
where I can hold cooking classes, vegan cooking classes for the community. So you don't have to stay there. It'll be open for
Right.
people to join me who just live nearby or want to come by, and have other teachers come in, maybe yoga, even card readers, stuff like that, to have people come in and just have a safe community space where we can really talk about these types of things like veganism and how we're showing up in the world and where we're trying to become better versions of ourselves, and just like a really cool, safe space for us to do that. But I also love the hospitality industry. When I look back at all of the jobs I've ever held, my absolute favorite one, and probably the one I was the best at, was working at a hotel. And it was an extended stay hotel. So I really got to know the guests
Okay.
and tap into like who they are, and just, greet them in the morning. I was like the first face a lot of them saw in the morning, or the last face before they went to bed at night. And I just really love that interaction. And then to be able to create this vegan space where now they get to come and eat really good vegan food in the morning to set them up for their day just really excites me. And so that's like the big, big goal with all of this.
That is huge, and I love it. Like,
Thank
I
you.
love it. Like, I can see it being so powerful, because if you're living that lifestyle, you want to stay in a place that understands who you are. But I
Yeah.
love the bringing together of community too.
Hmm.
Like, I love cooking classes. Like, I would even go to a vegan because I think it's cool. Like,
Hmm.
I love learning about other people's way of doing things. You never know. Like,
You never know.
I love that idea. That
Thank
is
you.
beautiful. And part of what you do as a vegan coach, you help others become vegan or along their journey, answer questions
Hmm.
for people, not only in the podcast, but you also help in a hospitality way,
Yeah, I
right?
do.
Tell us a
Hmm.
little bit about that part of you.
Yeah, so I'm also a vegan hospitality consultant. And what that means is that I work with restaurants and hotels to help them either improve their vegan options if they already have some, or help them add vegan options to their menu. Or in a hotel, it could be a menu if they have a restaurant, but also the amenities that they offer. Thinking about the soaps and shampoos, even the ability for someone to choose a non-down comforter. A lot of hotels already have that option because people are allergic to down, but they don't all have it. And I want to help these different groups understand, hey, we can actually accommodate a lot more people and serve more people in a really hospitable way,
Yeah.
by offering these different options, offering, across the board all vegan toiletries. Now everyone can use them, right? Offering of all vegan bedding. Now we don't have to have extra bedding sitting around waiting to be used or not be used. Same thing with the menus at restaurants. When we start veganizing some of the bases of a lot of recipes, now we can serve more people using less ingredients, saving the restaurants tons of money, and still being able to serve people who are looking for what is still considered a traditional meal, as well as the vegans and even vegetarians who are coming along. Having just a vegetarian option isn't good enough anymore,
Yeah.
because sure, the vegetarians can eat it, but the vegans can't. But
Right.
if you make a vegan option, now everyone can eat it.
That makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing so much around the vegan world. Like, they
Hmm.
have the imposter foods.
Yeah.
And I actually just saw an ad which I want to try because I have like a cheese allergy, that they
Okay.
have now vegan cheeses and a new line just rolled out. Like they have all sorts of different ones, like not just
Hmm.
one, like
Yeah.
all of it. Everyone's like, they taste just like the cheese. And I'm like,
Yeah. It's pretty
whoa.
incredible.
I'm like, you are kidding me.
Yeah. Like
That's
I was
amazing.
totally a cheesetarian. And so now that there are
Yeah.
all these different vegan cheese options, it's really fun to explore them and find the ones that you love the most.
Yeah, incredible. Do you know, like, just generally, what percentage of our population, even here in the US or East Coast, whatever you got, is vegan? Is it like a large group of people?
I guess when you look at the percentage, no, it's
Okay.
very small. I think it's still like 1 to 2% of the world's population is
Okay.
vegan.
Yeah.
Uh, but that does mean there's still millions of us, and we are spread across the world. Some people are born and raised that way, which is
Yep.
really exciting, either because of their culture or because, their parents are vegan, and made that choice. But there's also we're also seeing a lot of it. It so often has been pegged this like privileged white movement.
Hmm.
And we're actually seeing that more often than not, people of color are going vegan more often than white people are. And that's really
Interesting.
amazing because that starts to we can really start to open up more avenues of conversation, and we can make more significant change when we have more people involved and we don't have just the rich white guy voice at the top, which we
Yeah.
still see in a lot of the big vegan food products.
Yeah.
But from like a grassroots perspective, from a movement perspective, we're getting a lot more diversity, and that is really amazing, and I think is really going to help us push the movement forward.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I can see as you were speaking about it, even hotel options like vegan stays at especially your
Hmm.
big chains. You
Yeah.
should easily be able to have vegan stay at like your whole stay
Right.
or vegan rooms that were
Hmm.
always vegan, like a
Yeah.
percentage,
Right. That'd be
right? Even if they
amazing.
can't do every single like 300 rooms, do five,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, they have like smoking and non-smoking. They can
Hmm.
have that section, and it just makes sense
Yeah.
with everything today
Hmm.
that to make those types of offers.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Have you collaborated or met anyone else in the book project?
Just Paul
You know,
Taubman. I know Paul quite well.
well, too. Yes.
And of course, Claudia. I know Claudia. Um, but no, I haven't collaborated with anyone in the
Okay.
book, except
Yeah.
outside of the book anyway. Yeah.
Right. I know it's because the reason I ask is for our collaborative project, some people just found it was easier to write one chapter and be a part of a whole. And they've
Hmm.
met other people doing it and kind of going through the process of writing was a much easier for them than
Yeah.
the idea of putting out you know, a whole book.
That is true. And I am very thankful for this experience because I've been kicking around the idea of a book about hummus, taking some of the quotes from my podcast and some other thoughts and stories and turning it into a book. And I felt like I can't do that. I don't know how to write a book. But now I've written a chapter and I've gotten really helpful feedback. And so I've been through a process that now makes it a little less scary. And so
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe soon enough, there'll be a book about hummus by Kimberly Winters.
I love that idea, Kimberly. Love that idea.
Thanks.
Um, um, do you think that this one chapter could be a launching pad for something bigger?
Hmm. I sure do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Hmm.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Any future events or things going on with your podcast that you want to tell us about?
Yeah. So if you're local to New Jersey, I'm actually going to be at an event in September called Farm Days at Ethos Farm in Long Valley, New Jersey, and I will be a vendor there. So I'll have a table. You can come by if you're at the event, you can come by and see me. We can chat, tell you about all the other things I'm working on, and just like kind of hang out and enjoy some incredible speakers and eat some really good whole food, plant-based, no
Oh
salt,
my
oil, or
gosh,
sugar food.
you'll have to send me that
Yeah,
Because it's
I will.
literally down the street from me. Like I know where
Yay.
Ron's farm is anyway, but
Hmm.
I don't have the dates and everything. So
Oh yeah, I'll definitely send that to you.
that'll
Yeah, it's
be
September
fun.
14th and 15th. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
send you the
We
info.
have so many followers in New Jersey.
Awesome.
So many followers in New Jersey.
Yeah.
That would be
Oh, that'd be
fun.
so cool.
That
Yeah.
would be great. Kimberly, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they want
Best
to learn more
way.
about you, your work, your podcast?
Yeah, so definitely my website because then you can, fill out a contact form if you're already vegan and you want to be a guest on the podcast. There's a link to do that. You can also follow me on Instagram, but the website is didyouBringTheHummus.com. And
Beautiful.
Instagram is Did You Bring the Hummus? So pretty easy.
Awesome. Thank you, Kimberly, so much for being a part of the book and a part of this podcast.
Thanks, Camille. I love this.
All right, to our listeners, thank you for joining me today. If you loved this interview, please share it with your friends and pick up the book in September of 2024. It'll be on the shelves. You can also join Kimberly and me and others if you check out soulprofessional.com. A soul professional lives in a higher vibration, has an alternative approach to business, and is here to help repair the world. If that sounds like you, give us a, I don't know, reach out, join us and meet some other people that are doing incredible things, leaving their impact around the world. That's it for us tonight. Thank you, Kimberly, and we'll see everyone next week.